Guys, welcome to the Make a Dent podcast. I have Chris Lee here in person.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I really have been so excited. And you came into town from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
He flew in for a very special project that's very near and dear to my heart. And it was great to have him here. We worked on that this morning. We're going to talk more about that. Well, we could probably talk about it on this pod.
It'll come out after.
It'll come out after.
So, yeah.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. But Chris is my brand strategist, brand ninja. We're coming up with a lot of business card idea names for titles.
Yeah.
Working with him since April. And should we just talk a little bit about that and how we got started and what we're even doing?
Yeah.
Working together?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was, I found your listing, right, for Dottie's. And then I chased you around for a couple weeks to get a response. I don't know if you remember that. You're like, yeah, let's meet. And then like a week later, you're like, I'm sorry, I'm very busy. And I was just I'm still here.
Yeah. So I'd posted on Indeed for 2 jobs at that time. It was brand strategist I posted for, and I posted for Dottie's marketer too.
Right.
Posted for both, and Chris got back to me, and apparently I took time to get back to him. Not on purpose.
No, it was good because I'd be looking and talking to other people, and then I don't know if there was something that it's not what you're looking for, right? But you got to fish to find the right thing. And then I'd get home and be like, I don't know, I could maybe, but I don't know if that's the person I want to work for. And then every time you'd pop up and be like, hey, let's actually meet.
Let's actually for real
meet.
In
a few days. So then we did it, but then we finally did.
Yeah.
And I was so stoked.
Oh my gosh,
stoked that
same.
It worked out.
Well, we had like 2 or 3 kind of prelim interviews, and from the first one, I think that first one, I remember where I was sitting at my house for the interview, and we got on a tangent of, what did we talk about that first time? I got way excited. We talked about probably Gary Vee came up in the first one, and then I brought up longboarding, and then we got excited and talked. You were the longest interview that I had. I'll just tell you that. We went down some rabbit holes, and that's when I knew. I was like...
Streaming on Twitch and
oh my gosh, that's what it was. We came up with some cool ideas just in that first interview. That kind of told me a lot about your personality and you catching the vision. So what I was looking for, and I think I wanted to talk about this on a podcast with you. I want to talk about so many things. But I think more people are going to be looking for their Chris in the future. I think we'll see it a lot more than we do right now, but so the reason that I wanted to hire a brand strategist is taking my personal like Sierra McCleve brand to the next level in that getting out a whole bunch of content, getting a lot of attention, and that can sound conceited, but that's not what I mean, just attention on the platforms under that brand to do a lot of future things with. And I think a lot more people are going to be looking for that in the future. And that's what I was looking for. And Chris answered the Indeed posting and was so patient with me. And now we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think in the same way, I'm very flattered. Thank you. That everyone is looking for their Chris. That's awesome.
I really do. 100%.
Yeah. Part of that also is from my side, I'm looking for, right, that employer that is the one where, with you, one of very valuable lessons I learned early on was that you need to get into like a flow state when you are doing the job that you're meant to do.
Oh my gosh.
And sometimes that flow state might be too much maybe for the wrong person.
Right.
And you need, and that's where like true inspiration comes from. You need to have freedom in your ability to just speak your mind, as crazy or passionate as you may be. And even if you overstep and you're like, okay, like stop talking about video games, like that's still so much better than you code switching to impress someone where it's like, yeah, I can be who you want me to be, but I'm not already that. I'm just trying to show you this is it. This is the package you get. This is how my brain operates. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, like who would not want a job, especially right now? It's important to have a job. It's important to be able to take care of yourself. But finding someone that you can just actually communicate with is so important. And I've spent, before meeting you, I had been cold emailing like dozens of influencers, people in this space that I enjoy their content. I enjoy their personality. And I don't think they would be hindered or bothered if you use some slang words, or you get really excited. And luckily enough, that's kind of the community in that aspect. A lot of these people, they understand what it takes, and they understand where frustration comes from, or being able to talk about, I bring up Logan Paul, I bring up Casey Neistat, I bring up Mr. Beast, I bring up these people where maybe the wrong person would be like, I'm not him, I don't want to be him, why are you talking about this? But the right person will be like, I like what you're doing, I like where your brain is connecting dots, and those things are all super important and super leverageable if you understand what works. Like, no one wants to be Logan Paul, especially the Logan Paul 4 years ago when he was canceled from the world. But that content exists, and you don't have to be him, but you can look at the success he had, and you can still like an artist, and you have to go off of that he's paved the way in format for vlogging, format for clickbaiting, and how to have I will say it, Mr. Logan Paul, if you watch this, to have the most successful ever redemption
story.
And to do it in a way where, like, it was not handed to you, it was not lucky, it wasn't just like people forgot.
Well, I think people are going to see more of that, of them having to do that, because you're more online. So if you look at the Logan Paul story, and I want to circle back to kind of why we're doing what we're doing, more people are going to need to recover and redeem themselves, because so much more of it is going to be shown online.
You will trip up.
Like,
someone
you're going to
watches
trip up
all the time.
Like, I've seen 3 apology TikTok videos in the last week from people who used the wrong song, who were wearing something that resembled something they didn't know about.
Right.
So, Logan Paul, great job redeeming yourself and bringing it back to kind of what we're doing. Chris does, like, he caught the concept really well, and also, like, expanded my ideas of what I wanted to do. So I want to touch really quickly on, like, why I want to do it. And I want your perspective too, because I think it would be good to kind of communicate. And some people, even I think pretty close to me, they're supportive, but they don't understand, like, what exactly I'm trying to do. And really, I just think it's so important to have, if it's part of what you want, have, like, that online presence to provide value, number one, and share your talents. That's been a lot of, like, therapy for me, just, like, actually, like, talking about certain things I'm going through, and then hoping and getting messages back that's, like, helping someone else go through something similarly. So I think having that online presence, and then I think I told you this story, and I've told this to other people close to me. Like, why wouldn't you want, if it fits your DNA and your lifestyle or whatever, like 300,000, 500,000, 2 million people who you've provided some value to, and you haven't asked for much from, to be, like, on your team. Like, I think about if my kid gets sick. If my kid gets sick and needs, like, something, some special blood type, some thing that I can't give them, a miracle. Like, why wouldn't I want to have access to, like, just more, I guess, a bigger speaker, a bigger microphone,
a bigger village.
So a bigger village. And it's not completely out of fear at all. It's not fear-based necessarily, but I think about that a lot. And I think Gary Vee kind of touches on that a little bit. But there's a lot of, like, legacy stuff in there, a lot of impact on the world stuff, like trying to provide something bigger than yourself. And I think the microphone to do that is the interwebs and online. That's my perspective.
Trying to do it without the internet would be very difficult.
It would be, right?
And I like what you said about finding the positive and cons to social media.
Oh my gosh, huge.
I think that there is a positive to just having a lot of people. And I know that maybe looking at your feed, you'll see other people having success and doing things that might make you feel bad. And it might inspire you too, right? Comes down to maybe where you are at that time.
Yeah.
But another piece of that is super huge. It's like you might get hate comments, you might get hate messages, you might get whatever. But you have the ability just to talk to so many people. And that's kind of where we are in today's world. Like, with COVID especially, there's not the opportunity as there once was, I believe, for as many face-to-face interactions to happen. And thankfully, I think it's kind of overall increased face-to-face interactions. Sometimes people don't want to go hang out and talk in person. People pretend they're like, before social media, my friends went to the park and played. And it's like, introverts didn't get invented just now.
Right,
like,
right.
So
we've been around for a while.
Yeah, so I think it does allow people to communicate. It opens up so many doors. You've seen, like, was it DJ Khaled? Who? What? No, T-Pain. Was it T-Pain? You reposted it, actually, and it was of him looking at his requests. He's like, I didn't know that Instagram had requests, and look at all of this amazing, like,
look at all these opportunities that have been
that I've missed, and some are still available. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what I think outweighs the bad on social media. It's like, you might have somebody talk to you and say something rude, but you might also, like, you can just post that up and have other people be like, hey, like, don't listen to them, and you did a great job responding to maybe the negativity that they tried to bring upon you. Like the message you got with Dottie's about like you guys were trying to get political, and it was like, this is a meme that has nothing to do with that, but I hope you have a great day, and like, come stop by for some food, right? And then you posted it, you talked about it, and you didn't flame this guy or put him on blast, but everyone just was like, thank you for doing this. I needed to see that. So it's like, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you need to see the hate so that people can understand that, like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, you can try to let it roll off your back. And I think for me too, it has to be a balance, because there's definitely times when I fall off, and it's not my entire life to try to build up this brand, but it's important to me. And social media breaks, I think, are important. Just gauge yourself. I'm not saying just do you. They're
super important. They're super important.
So important.
I spend enough time now with just posting for the pages that we run together, and just, like, I'm so tired of trying to, like, jump back and forth and log in that I'm just like, oh, I get a media break. Like, this is sweet.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
No, like, there's when you're doing this much, I'm totally like, I'm not gonna log into my personal TikTok and just, like, scroll for hours. Like, no.
It's oh my gosh.
And it's healthy. It's so much healthier. There's a purpose for me to be there. When I'm browsing social media, I'm doing it from an account that you and I are both linked to. That it's like, I'm just looking for inspiration of content that we're gonna make stuff similar to, or stuff like that. And that's a huge break for me. Where it's like, it's not the algorithm trying to be like, what makes Chris feel sad so he keeps reading. It's just like dedicated accounts, specifically the algorithm's like, they just really love positivity business stuff. So that's my break, I guess.
That's good. I want to talk about I guess what you actually do for me as a brand strategist. We're gonna change that name, but
do it, any of it, anything you need, what you want, so I can do it.
So when I advertised for it, like, I mean, this is something we talked about recently. Like, we can talk about maybe how, if it's transitioned in your mind, or like what you thought you were signing up for. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
I want to make sure. So like, and then what you actually do. So he, as of right now, he does basically all the posting for my Sierra McCleve. And he started like 4 more Instagrams, Tiny Houses podcast, Let's Make a Dent reshare page, which we're going to get into more and more in the next probably couple months, right?
Yeah.
Lots of YouTube channels now too. 3. So he's doing that. I'll let you speak to what you thought the brand strategy, if it's aligning what you thought it was going to be and what you actually do. I think it'll just be interesting for people to know, because you might get a message from Chris.
As a brand strategist, you are communicating with other people, with other editors and videographers and graphic designers and soundscape and different stuff like that. You kind of just, you're the coach, and you make sure that everybody's on board and they're getting it done. They're so happy to do it. And you do the best that you can to give them examples of what you're looking for and just set them up for success the best you can.
And really helping create what does that brand look like.
Yeah.
And then managing the people who are supporting.
Right. And it's
putting out that content to the brand.
Yeah, huge relay pass every time. Every time that you ask me for like an idea, or what do you think about this, or am I missing something? I just stress to have an aha moment myself that I can share with you.
Yeah.
And that those things can go a very long way, and it just is so much more fun to work that way.
Let's talk a little bit about, I love that. Let's talk a little bit about kind of like, I want to talk more about the position, but then I want to talk more about Chris.
Yeah.
In this podcast episode. And I'm actually going to start us a timer, because we need to leave in like
I've got one on my watch too.
Like soon.
49 minutes.
Yeah, I think we should.
The latest.
Yeah, I'm going to set a 25-minute timer.
We have a plane to catch.
Yeah, we got.
And the Salt Lake City airport apparently is a triathlon.
To the plane on time.
Okay, well, So what you had originally was like someone that can come up with some ideas, that can give you a schedule of putting those out, and to find and help manage people that would contribute to making that content.
Yep. And when I brought Chris on, I think people might get confused with like a social media manager from what I wanted in this brand person, because like I have a lot of people who applied for that and who have applied for Dottie stuff. Like, yeah, I manage social media for this. It's different. It's different when you're asking someone to come in and represent and build up the brand, to what to talk about, what to post. Whereas sometimes social media managers, like I've had for Dottie's, and I have a great one right now, I have all the content.
Right.
She can come get it, but I know what I need to talk about. I know what my specials are this day and this day and this day. It's different when you're having someone help build up the brand, and that's what I wanted. Is I had 2 other businesses. A lot of people do this by themselves, like will build up their personal brand by themselves and then add on people as they go. For me, I have done that. I've been working on that alone, but I needed reinforcements because I had these other 2 businesses, I had my family, and it's so important to me. Like, I feel this sense of urgency to put out as much content as possible, which is what we're talking about with videos, photos. Like, I want to go so extreme on those and all the platforms that I knew I needed someone. And so we tested some people, and Chris right now is doing it all. Is doing all of our editing. And we know at a certain point, hopefully very soon, we get to a point where you're managing other editors, possibly, or
Where
something.
are you at, editors? Where are you at?
We need some editors, like, to build up the team. You're going to get to a certain point, I hope, to get to a certain point that there's so much coming in from projects that are going to fund these other editors so he can focus on big picture stuff and continue to do that. But you're crushing everything you're doing right now. I've been so excited. It's been so fun. Like, we've had, like, when we had that Twitch conversation in one of our first meetings, I was like, I never even thought of doing Twitch. But then when you said it, it made so much sense to, like, get people to know that other side of you. And that inspired me to get Tony Hawk on my Switch right now that I've been playing like every night. Old school Tony Hawk. I'm waiting for Tony Hawk 3, 1 and 2's on there, and that's been fun.
A revamp.
Just though you always have such good ideas, and that's one thing that if you're ever looking for that or that person to work with you in a similar capacity, that's one thing I super appreciate about you is your ideas, your energy, and like I can come to you with a crazy idea. You'll be like, okay, let's talk about this, and you can come to me with one, and I'm like, okay, hang on, let's look at it. And it's not like, no, that's not going to work. Yeah. It's like, how can we make it work, and how can we turn that into something else? And I think a good example of that is our really big, this has been a big project to collab with Ghost Longboard, with White Trash Willie, Will Cashin. Who else is leading into that? We're doing that. That led into like podcast episodes. That's been YouTube videos.
We did the giveaway.
We did a huge giveaway.
The most fun giveaway ever. It just like
she just got her board. She just got her board the other day, Peja, and that's been a huge project. And that came about because of brainstorming and execution from Chris, and he's just done a tremendous job. And now I've met Will. We're going to do a podcast with Will. Will's in the scooter world. I don't know anything about scooters. Chris does.
Yeah, scooters.
And Will designed the podcast, the board, the art for the podcast board. So that's kind of what Chris works on. So I'm hoping to pop you into like stories even more. Definitely as we have bigger projects, get you back out to Utah. But you, I wanted to talk about this on my Instagram stories so bad the other day, but no one knows you, so I had to introduce you first. I mean, people know you. I've talked about you, but they haven't officially met you.
Right.
He continues to surprise me, though, and I'm going to talk more about Chris right now because, like, he brought up scootering. He's like, oh, I know all these scooter people. I started this scooter company. What were you doing for your scooter company?
I made grip tape, wax, clothing, that backpack that I brought today. Yeah, okay. So like apparel and stuff.
So he had done that. So he talked about that in some of his interviews and some of his experiences with that. Plus, you had done some content creation for other people. So that lineup, that was amazing. It got me thinking about. Well, it made this go over very smooth. We got to ride longboards at Ghost Longboard. Yeah. It made me think about how I used to rollerblade. I hadn't thought about that little memory in a while. And then the guy comes to me the other day and is like, oh, yeah, like I rap. and I have a rap video.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a question I haven't straight up asked you, Chris.
Yeah.
How old are you?
You don't know how old I am?
No.
You have no idea? Guess.
Okay. Hang on.
No math. That's cheating.
25 or 8? 25 or 8?
28.
28?
Yeah, 28.
I haven't known. And then, but you like have had so many experiences. You've done so many things, honestly. Could you just like name off like your top 5 things you've done that people don't know about? Like no one knows about you on maybe this podcast yet.
Oh, that's tough.
But like and he has a full on rap video and he's freaking good.
Thanks.
So hip hop stuff. You started your own company. I know you're into scootering.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently make backpacks.
Yeah.
What else have you done, sir?
Man.
I need to know.
I've done a lot of stuff. I'm very happy to say that.
Yeah.
But my mom always said that I would get like really focused on one thing. And then when I felt like I had like not mastered it, but got to a point where I was like, I felt like I could do it. I was good at it. And I was good. And I wouldn't quit or leave that alone forever, but I just had to have something else with the same challenge of like, so I've jumped around. I've done a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. I think the first like big hobby I picked up was dance, break dancing.
Okay.
And if you cannot break dance, you should not be making rap music. I'll say that now to all of you SoundCloud rappers looking at you.
Will you please zoom in? I need you to jump frame.
Yes.
When you do that, okay, onto you.
That's for you. Okay? I don't care how rich Slow Pump is. You can't dance. I don't care.